Today, I wasn't even sure if I was going to go live. I know I'm late. I'm late getting started because you never know where this stuff takes you. And I started looking at the news. Hadn't talked about the news in a little bit, but avoiding it. We're still talking about just the silliness and the drama. Not anything important in the news. Nothing. Nothing. To me, the stuff I see, it's all try to get you to look this way, and to me, it's all BS. It's all the news is just full of BS, and so I came into this one report where it wasn't BS. And my history is a little. Sometimes my history in certain areas is a little, it's not as deep as it needs to be. We tend to forget things. Y'all, I ran into Nanking this morning. I remember the Nanking massacre a little bit. But I don't think I ever really spent time really processing the death. It's like I have a friend and I put something out to him and he likes to come up with, oh, that's revisionist history. People like to say that. And history is everything. History is everything for us because it's the only thing that reminds us of where we were, so we never go back there again. We talk about evolving socially and psychologically, and even from the government and a societal perspective that we want to keep evolving. And we can't do that if we don't really continue to look at history. And so there was actually a great report this morning. I'm going to show you guys that came out. The survivors of the Nanking massacre are still alive. So before I go down there, I know I'm a little solemn. I'm sorry. I'm going to try to tune it up a little bit. But the problem with looking at real stuff and not getting wrapped up in the politics and the lies is if you actually have a real heart beating in your chest with warm blood, when you see something that's just, oh my God, I can't even show you. If you want to open up a side window, because I can't show you. The reason I got the Japanese troops behind me from the Nanking massacre is because you can't show the victims. I'm telling you, if I put this up, they'll take the video down right away. You can't even show the victims. It is that bad. If you have, it's not even if, I'm not gonna say if. You need to open a side window, put my ugly face away for a minute, and just go to EcoAsia. Don't go to Google. Go to EcoAsia and type in ecoasia.com. Type in Nanking Massacre. Just type it in. The pictures you see, oh my God, OMG. So I prepared a bunch of stuff and I got my notes together. I was going to talk about a few. They had some funny stuff I was going to talk about. I'm not sure how funny I am this morning, y'all. I'm sorry. 300,000 people were murdered in Nanking. 300,000 of your brothers and sisters were murdered in Nanking. And that's not the bad part. Yo, I didn't even say the bad part yet. That's not even close to being the bad. Oh my God, hold on. I'm sorry, I agreed to run. I'm a little emotional, y'all. I'm a little emotional. I'm going to try to put a smile on my face, but you might get a tear. And the only reason there's a partial smile on my face, y'all, is because we live in a time where we actually can see what happened. And we can actually process how in the hell do we keep this from happening again? My God. Anyway, good morning, Sharon. Good morning, C. Thomas, Payne, Lisa, Brother Tom, Denise, Cindy, Renee, Mary, Laura, Nina. Good morning, good morning. So 300,000 people were murdered, but it was a particular heinous murder. So this is when Japan And I don't even like to say Japan because when you say the name of cultures and countries, you lose the point. People lose the point, and this is what bothers me. And it's like anytime we talk about Charlottesville, or we talk about any of the massacres that happened, with Brother Lavoy Finnecom and the Bundys in Waco, Texas, and Ruby Ridge, and all the kids being shot in the inner cities, battling with police. Everybody misses the point, and it drives me insane. And I can't figure out what is wrong with the intellect in our world. At what point? We used to be great at looking at the root cause of problems and solving those problems and evolving and moving forward. And then we just failed at it. Listen, let me show you. So some of the bad part, because honestly, the bad part, I don't even think we'll ever know how bad it was. But some of the details, I'm going to give you some of the little details. 20,000 women were raped in Nanking. 20,000, which means it's a lot more than that. Let me tell you how this particularly went down. So when the Japanese went in, when the people went, I'm not even going to say Japanese, yo. I'm not going to say Japanese because, again, it's not about the Japanese. It's about man and what man is capable of. All men. When you put men in the right circumstances and you invoke the warrior genetics, we know from the behavioral scientists and the neuroscientists that each and every one of you can do the evil things that these men did. So, and I know somebody's out there right now like, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I'm too good. I would never. You have never, ever. I think if you feel that you're so good that you would never do some of the worst evils, you lived a good life. You must have lived a wonderful life. A human being put in the worst circumstances is capable of everything. All human beings have always done, because you have the same genetics as those soldiers behind you. And so do I, which is why you raise kids not to be murderers. And you when they're killing puppies and they're doing stuff, you get them help. When you have a society full of people that constantly can consistently vote for violent people to run their government, you stop. You grow the hell up. So this is what the Japanese leader did. So when they marched into the town, you know what he told them, to the city? He said, not only do you need to murder everybody, but you need to do it in a way that brings them shame, basically. The worst way possible. My God. The accounts, and the reason we can talk about this, a lot of this, is because a few of the survivors are still alive. The things these soldiers did to these people, the things that they made them do to each other, y'all. I mean, it's not even, it's not, rape isn't the worst part. That's not even the worst part. They cut off heads. They were cutting off heads almost similar to when the West came and was cutting off heads of the Native Americans. And that's where Redskins came from, because they actually were trading the scalps and skin and parts of Indians. It was a currency. They cut off so many heads. Blood flowed. Oh my, all right. So there was an author of a book. This stuff it's insanity. It's insanity, and we think it's over. And it's not over. There was an author of a book, and I didn't read the book. I'm gonna have to put this on my book list. I'm gonna have to read this one. I don't know when I'm gonna read it though, because the author of the book, after doing all the research, writing the book, doing the interviews, the rape of Nanking, he committed suicide. After getting the accounts of everything, y'all, they had brothers rape their sisters before killing them both. They had fathers rape their daughters before killing them. And then the soldiers raped them. And then they cut off their heads. And after raping them before killing them, they sliced open bellies. I mean, this is the sickest, most, oh my gosh. I can't even post it. There was a documentary. I can't even post it. There's no way Facebook is going to keep it up when the people explain some of the things that we're capable of. And so for those of y'all who don't know what I'm talking about when I talk about the warrior gene. So I'm gonna try to give a quick little rundown because not everybody understands. So if you ever go to the internet, look up Dr. James Fallon, look up warrior genetics. We all have these 24 genes that actually they're called the warrior genes. They're a survival genetic adaptation that we have so that when we are raised or we are put in violent situations, we can respond violently for survival. Right? We don't cringe when we see blood. We don't, we're not hesitant to cut off somebody's head. We're not hesitant to shoot at a kid that's got a bomb strapped to his chest or is pointing a gun at you. The warrior genetics that we're turning on in every trailer park, every ghetto, every impoverished area, all over Yemen, all over the world, all over Africa. The warrior genes that actually turn down your empathy, they turn down your fear, they turn up your aggression, and they literally make a human being a monster. These are the psychopathic genes. So this is how man is capable of doing some of the most horrendous things possible. So what I would encourage you to do is to look up the research of Dr. James Fallon. There are a lot of neuroscientists that talk about it now. Of course, they never get the microphone. They're not popular. You won't see them in the mainstream media for the most part talking about any of the research that they're doing in the prison systems and finding out what is behind the psychopaths. How do you get someone to do some of the worst things possible to another being, another creature that looks like it? It's by turning on these warrior genes. And war does that. Serving as a police officer in a rough neighborhood does that. Growing up a child in a rough neighborhood does that. Growing up in scarcity does that. You can actually do it in a wealthy home to children who are ignored by their parents. Starvation does that. So you need to look up the warrior genetics because this is how all this happens. And what bothers me is we get to a part where we look at it and we say, oh, it's just the Germans. The Germans did it. Oh, it was the Japanese. We need to impose some sort of military block or some sanctions or something. And the reality is there are 7 billion people on this planet that are capable of the most horrible things put in the wrong conditions. And we never solve the problem. We always do the side effects, right? We blame the country, blame the race, blame the leader. But we don't blame the fact that we continually allow for violent solutions to solve our problems. We continually cheer that in our leaders. I mean, I watched it from Bush on. Bush, violent solution after violent solution, and his people cheering him. Obama came in, violent solution after violent solution, and his people are cheering him. Trump is in, violent solution after violent solution, and his people are cheering him. And what I'm asking you to think about, maybe you shouldn't be their people. Maybe you should be a human being. Maybe, just maybe, when someone comes up with a bad idea, you shouldn't be locked into this groupism that makes you. I'm sorry. It bothers me, and I can't even show you what bothers me. I'm just going to show you the news report from the survivors. When you watch the wrong video and it shows you the true nature of what we are capable of, oh brother, it'll do you in. It'll do you in. Because this stuff is real, you guys. This isn't a game. This isn't a joke. Of course you can go to your vendettery and brag that your president won. You can be upset that your monster of a president didn't win. You can be excited that what in Alabama, I don't even know who he is. The Democrat beat Roy Jones, and you could be cheering, yay, we won something. We did something. You didn't do a damn thing. Because the two psychopathic parties whose leadership are all psychopathic, because all of their solutions are violent all the time, are still in control. Why in the hell are you cheering? What have you changed? Nothing. I'm not going to be the angry bald guy. I'm not going to be. That's not me. it's hard to look at this stuff when you actually give a damn. A lot of people don't give a damn. A lot of people, they just want to win. They just want to win. And this is why I'm not in any of the parties and I don't agree with the Democrats. Why are they upset right now? They're upset because their leaders aren't choosing who gets murdered and raped. That's why they're upset. Why are the Republicans happy? Because they right now get to choose who gets murdered and raped. And at some point in time, the adults in this world need to stand up and stop acting like, all right, I'm going to show you the clip. I'm gonna drink my coffee and shut up. I'm going to show you the clip because it's a real thing that we're living, and people are joking and laughing and walking around like this isn't really happening. Oh my God, but hold on. I can't even find the video now. I get so upset sometimes. My hand is shaking a little bit. All right, watch this. Let me try to pull this. My stuff right. I'm so pissed off today.
就拿我自己来讲吧，我一家人死了，到现在或者80几岁了，还来走起动气了，说的是假的，就南京大屠杀不存在的问题，不可能，是吧？但是自己这样刀疤啊都有。
You know what, y'all? I'm sorry. Let me stop that. You can't even see the letters, but I just needed a minute. I can't. I know you can't see the words on the bottom. I think I posted I'll post the news clip. This is actually on RT, where it was the victims and they were talking about some of the things that they saw. And the reason why it's we can even talk about it is because we have this internet thing, right? We have the ability to actually go and collect the data and see the images. And that's why today is different, right? Today is different because if you give a damn, you can actually look at the details. If you don't think that the Democrats are capable of being those soldiers back there, you don't think the Republicans are capable of being, and if you're from another country, sometimes I talk about the parties because we have to. If you don't think the Green Party, if you don't think that they could hold those guns back there, then you're stupid. This is a very simple issue of we keep promoting violent solutions and we turn around and go live life like it's normal, like it's never going to end up in these type of massacres again. This always happens and it's always going to happen because we don't fix the root problem, the violence. The problem isn't the Japanese. Yes, I thank you, Brother Don. It was 1937, and I'm sorry. The reason I was talking about this today is because it's the anniversary. This happened on December 13th, 1937. And, you know, I got in trouble. Somebody was asking me some questions the other day. 'Cause I always say stuff like, you know, don't get locked into, you know, your cultural pride right now. I'm not saying anything against cultural pride. I'm not even saying anything against whatever group or ethnicity, whatever. I'm not saying anything about that. What I'm saying when I made that post is that when you have a species at risk, when you have a species that's being murdered all over this planet, raped all over this planet on a daily basis, we don't have time for your pride. We don't have time for your subspecies pride. Like, if you want to help your group out and do something for your group, what good is that? If we don't even get to exist on this world, what good is that? If we continue to invoke this psychopathic thing that we all seem to have and keep raising more children in this way, what good is it that you lift your little group up and y'all feel good about yourself when the whole world just collapses? You know, what is that going to benefit? It's not going to benefit anybody. It's not going to benefit nothing. You know, the mainstream media, and this is why, oh man, it just owned by 6 corporations. And you know, the majority of people that we all know still watch CNN and Fox and MSNBC and the Disney channels and all of these murderous groups use the media to get you to look another way, right? What is everybody talking about right now? Oh, they're talking about somebody put the ding-a-ling in somebody else. You know, it gets me because it's just so insane. It is so insane that that's news. And I joke about it because I think it's stupid. Like, it's like a flasher, like the media is a flasher. That's basically what the media is. It's a flasher. Every time something important happens in the world, they open a trench coat and they say, look at the ding-a-ling. Look, y'all see it? You know, they're like these subway flashers. Oh, look at the sex scandal. Something's going on with the sex. Somebody did something with a penis. Everybody, look at the penis. And it drives me insane. Why is that important to you? And it's not always a penis. It's a Trump sometimes. Everybody look at my Trump. Everybody look what he twittered. You know, focus on something else, which is why he's the president to begin with, because he knows you'll do that, which is why Obama was there. Everybody look at my Obamas. You know, and they do this and everybody runs that way. And nobody focuses and listens to the actual professionals who are saying this can't continue. If we continue, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to get into the news. I want to talk about the news. This just set me off the wrong way this morning. And Sister Renee said, "Violence begets violence. It's not a path of peace." And this is, Renee, this is the wisdom that people throw out. The violence is what drives the violence. If you try to solve violence with another violent solution, the adults in the crowd are supposed to say, no, dummy, that's a bad idea. You know, one of my critiques about one of the things that I think that they made Trump say, I don't think he came up with this. I don't believe Obama came up with this. I think in a world where trillions of dollars are made and a homeless person will kill you, or any person will kill you who needs it for $50, there isn't a billionaire in this world that's going to let a president come in and do what they want and say what they want. So this So there's 44,000 troops missing. 44,000 troops. And what is this about? Well, during the campaign, one of the things that Trump said was, he said, the enemies don't need to know where our troops are. Right? And everybody cheered. Everybody thought it was such a good idea. This is smart. We need to have men with guns around the planet, our children, and have no damn idea where they are. This makes sense. It makes sense when Obama did it, and it doesn't make sense now. And I'm sorry, it's not that Obama did it or Trump did it. It's that the people who run all of this do this. So we have 300,000 troops deployed all over the world, and 44,000, they won't even, they have unknown listed on them. So congressmen don't even know where they are. They have no idea. Mattis doesn't even know where they are. We got boys and girls deployed around the world doing things on our tax dollars with our guns, our bullets, our bombs, our drones, and we don't even know what they're doing. We don't know what they're doing it to. The only time that we actually see what happens is when, like, the troops got murdered in Niger. The troops were killed in Niger. And of course, a lot of the ignorant Americans, oh my God, they're killing our troops. We got to do something about it. You know, while you got people like Lee Camp and RT putting out, say, whoa, y'all slow down. Do you know why they got murdered? Do you know why it happened? It's because they massacred a town, not those particular soldiers, but we as a country massacred a town. And they took the bodies. They wouldn't even bury the bodies. The family took the bodies to Mogadishu, wherever they took them, and showed everybody, look at what the Americans are doing. I think it was, I forgot how many, but some of them were kids. And of course, if you murder somebody's kids, they're going to come back for you. That's how it works. Violence begets violence. But you have so many people who, and I get that people, you know, how this stuff works from the warrior genetic perspective, where there's just spectrums of it. So some of our brothers and sisters and friends and neighbors, they actually are on that spectrum, and they're listening to the media and they're believing a lot of it, and they're just kind of falling in line and being told what to say and told what to do. But it's those of y'all who aren't on the psychopathic spectrum that I'm talking to. You have to pull back against this. You gotta, anytime they come up with these more violent solutions to solve other things, you have to say no. It's like this dumb stuff, sanctions, right? I like to think of things in terms of analogies because it helps me to kind of like process it. And the thing I was thinking about was saying, I try to look at things on a local level. It's like you have a problem with your neighbor. I don't know. The inflatable Santa Claus, when it deflates and it deflates into your driveway. I don't know, on your cars. You finally, every morning you come out, you got to pick the Santa up and move it over. You're getting pissed off with it. This is actually really happening, but anyway. So do you go into some sort of sanctions where you're mad with your neighbors, so you decide, well, you know, the next time your kid gets locked out of the house, I'm not going to let him come over and stay in the house. I'm just not going to answer the door. I'm going to leave him out there because I'm tired of you and your Santa Claus. Like, some of the dumbest ideas are really dumb on a local level, and you can look at it on a grown-up level or on a national scale and say that makes no damn sense. You disagree with someone, you're mad at somebody, so you're going to do something to hurt them. In exchange, you're going to take some sort of a violent act, because that's what sanctions are. Sanctions are violence, right? It's by the same token, if you're a kid and you can't get in your house, I don't know, it's in the middle of winter and the neighbor won't let you in. That's, to me, that's some sort of violence. But if you're holding back food going to a country, that's violence. That's war. That's an act of war. And violence just begets more violence. You just piss somebody else off and they come back at you. And that's all that happened in Niger. And that's all that's happening all around the world, that we have no idea where our troops are. World, is the world listening? World, are you out there? World, if you see any American troops, can y'all send them home? Actually, that's the wrong thing to do. I take that back. Don't do that. And that's what y'all try to do. But our troops are well too armed and they're well trained. And you're not going to send them home. It's the American people that have to call them home. And they won't do that because they're still lost in, too many of them are still lost in their little groups. You know, they don't get the seriousness. They don't understand that Nanking happens all the time. The only difference is the leaders over there that did it from the country that they came from, they had bad PR. They did it so quickly and in one city. And it was in 6 weeks they murdered those 300,000 people. the upwards estimation of the wars America started, we are well beyond that. Well beyond that. And rape is a part of all of it. Murder is a part of all of it. Heads being cut off is a part of all of it. You know, this stuff, it's not only sick, but it's sick that we know what it is. We know how to solve the root problems, but we won't let the people who have the solutions, the professionals, the neuroscience and the behavioral scientists, the ones who say that you can't put these soldiers in these conditions or they will respond the way that they do. We don't let them have the microphone. When somebody gets shot, when there's some sort of police shooting, when there's some sort of, you know, whether it's any of the mass shootings that happen, we don't stop and think about and ask a professional or even think about the root cause. First thing, them darn police, we got to get the police. No, you don't. Because the police work for you. You hired the politician and the police did what the politician told them. They govern the interactions. They write the laws. You listen to but the politician has a magnet on your refrigerator at your house. The politician has a sign in your yard. The politician just got elected. You know, that's a good thing. But I'm going to be mad at the police. I'm going to be mad at the soldiers. And the soldiers are doing who tells them to do. The politicians. And and there's so many levels, and I'm not even hitting on politicians because I don't even think they control their actions. They're being told what to do. But the power is always with the people, and the people always get to determine if things like Nanking don't ever happen again, or they stop happening on a daily basis that's just covered up because there's no media allowed in the area, or they have better PR, or the mainstream media just won't talk about it. It happens every single day. And that's why people have to come together, and people have to lay down their swords for their little ignorant social ideas. And it's not that they're ignorant social ideas, it's behind groupism. It's just ignorance of the bigger picture, ignorance of the greater scheme of things. You know, America is becoming more and more desperate. We are a very poor nation with a very big military. You know how it goes if the American people don't grow the hell up and start to pull their government back. And I actually think that most of the politicians want to be pulled back. I don't think that they enjoy the sickness that we do all over the world, but they can't do it. I think Obama was a good guy on a personal level. I think Trump is a good guy on a personal level. But I think when they get into office, they're not allowed to say, they're not allowed to do anything good. And even if they wanted to, they don't have our back. We don't get behind them when they say something good. If we were against them, we're going to stay against them. And if we were with them, we're going to stay with them, no matter whether it's good or bad. So I didn't even get into the news this morning. I'm sorry. I'm off ranting. Let me see what y'all are talking about. I'm just... It's really graphic when you see the right details. When you see the body strewn out. And I had a guy I was mentioning. I was talking to a guy. He was a veteran of World War II. He was talking about how they went into towns. And it was obvious that the women were all raped because they were all strewn out over, bodies, and of course they don't pull their pants back up or put the dresses down. They just leave them when they fall. And I kind of picture that graphically, and I talk about that because as a man, if you were born to a woman, you got a sister, you got a wife, you got a daughter. There's nothing more violent you can think of than something like that. That's when, if you want to see a good man's crazy come out, you go ahead and let somebody get raped around him. You go ahead and let him see that. He's capable of the work. Don't be the guy. All right. Anyway, I forgot what I was talking about. I'm just this thing's got me so pissed off this morning. But G.I. Joe said, "Knowing is half the battle." Wise words. Prophet called G.I. Joe. Knowing is half the battle. And that is the good thing about today is we actually get to know. That is half of it. And I think that's something to have a lot of hope in. But we got to get to the next steps, which is caring about the things we know and acting on the things we know. Brother Doug said, I never tell my kids to join the military. And that is absolutely, part of the solution is, we have to stop cheering it when the kids say, I'm going to go serve in the military, or I'm going to go serve my country. You need to be honest with them and tell them the truth. You're not going to be serving your country. You're going to be serving Wall Street. You will be serving billionaires that you don't know. What you will be doing will not have a damn thing to do with freedom. It won't have a damn thing to do with America. It's all going to have to do with some corporation sees a means of getting money, and they bought the right pocket so that they can go do that. And you're going to put your life on the line. You're going to see some of the most horrible and the worst things imaginable, and perhaps be forced to do some of the worst things imaginable for a paycheck. So it's absolutely, you have to do the best you can to keep the kids out of the military. But the reality is, there'll always be some that go. Why? Because, again, when people are starving, they need food, you don't have jobs, people are going to do what they have to do to survive and feed their families, and the military is one of them, and they're going to do that. And besides the fact, we've spent so much time fighting with these ignorant Democrat and Republican leaders trying to put them in office that we don't have the ability to control anything anymore. They done burn the Constitution up. It means absolutely nothing. It's just in ashes, and they can invoke the draft anytime they want. So even if we keep our kids out of the military, they can still pull them in. They can pull us in. They can do anything they want. Thank you, Brother Don. Got another suggested reading. I appreciate that. I have a book list that I have for. I like to listen to audiobooks, and when I get on the road, sometimes I pull down an audiobook, and that's a real easy way to get. You should listen to you should actually listen to like alternative news. You should listen to an audiobook or something when you're driving, because how is the music going to help you? Like, I know a lot of people, you still drive around, you listen to the music. I couldn't figure that out about my father. I used to always drive around, listen to talk radio. Why would you want to do that? Dad, you can listen to Michael Jackson, man. You can, we can put on some Jimi Hendrix. Why would you want to? Because if you're trapped in a car for an hour going to work or a couple hours going somewhere, you can actually be smarter when you get out of the car. You can be more informed when you get out of the car than when you get in the car. And that's one thing with me that I like. Anytime I go for any sort of a long trip, I want to be more informed when I get out of the car than when I got in the car. Or you can be dumber. Not dumber. You can be more wrapped up into the fantasy in our society, more wrapped up into the flashy things that somebody's trying to flash you. You can be more wrapped up into the silliness, or you can be more informed for actually making a change in the next generation. You know what blesses me? What blesses me is I do see a lot of young people who are really starting to get it. A sad thing is we got to get old before we actually start to see what really matters in life. We're always, we were raised to chase money, and that's what a lot of us did. But I'm starting to see young kids who are seeing that there's something more important. You can plant seeds in your kids early on where you teach them how wrong all of this is, how wrong their uncle is, how wrong their aunt is, how wrong their friends' parents are embracing violence. Violence is always the wrong answer. Force is always authorized. Anytime somebody attacks you, it is your right to respond. It is your right to defend yourself. Anytime a nation invades you, it is your right to respond. That does not make you a terrorist. That makes you a person of peace, protecting the people around you. But if you are the violator, you are the one who did the violence, you did the invasion, you're always wrong. The war is always your fault. War is always a crime. It's always been a crime. That's why I don't get the whole war criminal trial stuff. While there are crimes that can happen in war, every war is a crime. And the biggest criminal right now in the world is the United States government, unfortunately. That's us. I don't know because the government, they're not a special entity. That's us. You can sit back and blame politicians all day till you're blue in the face. That's what it's kind of what I see, and I had to try to lighten it up a little bit. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to get so serious on y'all this morning. I'm just the Nanking thing. It just sent me down a path. I wasn't prepared for what I was going to see. If you go out and you do a search for some of the pictures, some of the stuff that happened there, you know. Anyway. But every time somebody says that, like I look at the news, and even the people I like say it. You know, I listen to Brother Ron Paul a lot, and even sometimes he'll say it. But I guess there's no really other way to talk where you say when the president, that you have to say Trump, Obama, the Democrats, Republicans, whatever. I don't think any of that exists. Half the time, I see what I see when you blame Japan about Nanking. When you come at me and say, well, Trump did this, all I see is you flashing me. You know, you're just flashing your Trump at me. I don't care about your Trump. I don't want to see that. Flash your, well, Obama, you flashing your Obama. Don't flash me. I don't, listen, you're riding on the subway. I got somewhere to be. I'm trying to go to work. Why are you flashing me, trying to give me your own little spin as to how this works? You know, we could be done with genocide if we focused on the fact that the problem with Japan going into China was, one, a country invaded another country, which is always a crime. It's always violence. It's always war. And two, when you agree with violent solutions, it always starts small. You know, it's just a little small thing. Same thing with Hitler and the rest of them. It always starts with, oh, it's just sanctions. Oh, just a little sanctions. Oh, just a little police action. Oh, just a little something, something. And the next thing you know, it turns into this massive war and 300,000 people are dead. And we're like, oh my God, how did we get here? Because at each level, just the conversation with your brother alone or your friend, without you chastising them for the violence that they're supporting, it always escalates into something bigger. This concept that it's okay to not know where our troops are, you know how dumb that is? That is just, it's like, we're a republic, number one. We are a republic. You don't get to take our boys and our girls and deploy them anywhere in the world without us always knowing where they are. Because they're not yours. They're ours. And you have to, the republic has to know what's happening. And so we got the leaders of the republic, the congressmen and the senators, and they don't even know where the troops are. That's kind of like in a marriage. Your husband or your wife is going on a business trip. You say, well, honey, where are you going? It's not your business. What you mean it's not my business? We're in this together, aren't we? No, I'm going somewhere. It's not your business. I don't trust you. I'm not going to tell you where I'm going. You know, your husband or your wife comes home late from work and you're asking, why are you late for work, honey? Baby, where you been? It's not your business. It's not my business. When somebody is hiding something from you, somebody who you trust, and there's a trusted relationship there, that person is always up to something foul. The only reason, again, deep state, Illuminati, Rothschilds, whoever you want to say runs the world, the only reason they would tell Trump to do that and say those things is because they're always up to horrible things all the time. Yeah, Sister Jenny, yeah, the young mind can mold the old. And with so many adults walking around lost, sometimes it takes a young mind to mold into you know that saying that goes, they say kids say the darndest things, you know, from the mouth of babes. It's because as adults, we look at these kid things and we don't expect anything wise to come out of them. We always expect something silly. And every now and then they'll do something or say something that'll just floor you. Because they know something they're not supposed to know. They say something that we already know, but we didn't do it. Or they say something that's really, really wise and we're blown away by it. If you raise your kids to be intellectuals, to be critical thinkers and intelligent, and you raise them to be peaceful, they'll infect a lot of adults who are lost in these violent, the adults that agree with violent solutions because they think, oh, it's the best thing to do at the time. We don't really have a choice. It's the right thing to. Violence is always the wrong thing. And sometimes if a kid tells you that, it'll floor grandma. You know, it'll floor the uncle. They won't listen to you because they grew up with you. You're just as dumb. You have to be just as dumb as they are. But if your kid says it, you know, and your kid says something like, no, Uncle John, that's wrong because Nanking. I watched a little documentary on Nanking. Now, Mom wouldn't let me watch the whole thing because there were a lot of things I wasn't supposed to see. But when you start to cheer violent solutions, we get violent leaders. When we get violent leaders, a lot of people die, Uncle John, and I don't think that's a good idea. You know? You know, and yes, Sister Jane, and we have to view the leaders as criminals because they are criminals. Murder is a crime. Okay, you know, murder is a crime, and every religion on the planet, murder is a crime. To an atheist, they even get murder is a crime. Because you have a pen and a nice suit and a tie doesn't mean that you didn't murder somebody. I can't think. And I'm sorry, and this is the thing where, you know, the politicians do have accountability. If you voted for war, you're being complicit with murder, a murderous act. You should be in a prison in that country. That's what I believe. I know that's, you know, my president or my, you know, whatever. Okay, listen. If you are complicit in a murder, you know someone's about to go murder somebody else, and y'all are sitting in the room, and you know Mike is about to go get his gun and go shoot the neighbor, and you say, hey, yeah, well, go ahead, Mike. I think it's a good idea. You should go. Go on, Mike, go murder him. In fact, here's some bullets for the gun. I give you my bullets. I pay for the bullets, and you can take my gun. Go murder Mike. Is that not what Congress does? Isn't that what the senators do? Isn't that what the presidents do? That's a crime. So, anyway, gosh, I don't get how people are still lost in this identity stuff. I don't get it. I don't get why, you know, they can't seem to figure out where all of this ends. You know, the whole world is flipping out about Jerusalem still. I was thinking about something the other day about Jerusalem. I said, why? First of all, I don't think Jerusalem's going to be the capital of Israel. Second of all, let's just be honest. All they're fighting over is who invaded who last and who owns all of that stuff over there. The wisest idea was that Jerusalem was divided up. I don't think that America's going to go in and make Jerusalem the capital. First of all, America can't make Jerusalem the capital. The only way it makes sense that America can make Jerusalem the capital is if you agree that that Washington, D.C. is the capital of the earth. Ask yourself, think about that for a minute. You getting upset about where America puts their embassy puts a lot of weight on a town called Washington that shouldn't have a lot of weight. It shouldn't have a lot of agreement and really even your angst. So I get, and if you can protest peacefully, I mean, I don't know. I guess I view things a little different. Like I was listening to Kofi Annan talk. He actually gave a good little talk. I might post it. He was talking about something. I know a lot of y'all don't like him, and I know UN's corrupt. I get that. But again, no matter what you think about him, people can say wise things. But this one wasn't wise. He just said, what he said. He was talking about the world leaders and how they have to come together and help Syria. And, you know, he said China and Russia and America and, you know, the world's leaders. They don't lead me. Do they lead you? Like, I think you get walked into believing certain things and you respond, and before you realize you're being played, you're led astray in supporting who a leader is. I can tell you who leads me. I can promise you this. Obama did not lead me, and Trump does not lead me now. They are my presidents in this land that I live that's designed by the 1% and the borders drawn by people who murdered all of our ancestors and stole their land. But they don't lead me. A lot of forces lead me that I can't even recognize. You know, a lot of real old people lead me that you will never meet because they're some of the wisest people I know. But people who I don't know, they don't lead me. And so if you agree with this concept that Washington is the capital of the world, then yeah, you should be upset about Jerusalem because they're your leader. They lead you. What they do has significance, which is what they want. They want you to react. They want what they do to have significance in your life, and subconsciously you are accepting that they are your leader. And this is mostly what's wrong with the world right now, is you are accepting that people who shouldn't run a daycare actually run the world. You know, and if it sounds like I'm talking about anarchy, to a degree I am. I'm not an anarchist though, and I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you. But what I do know is no man should have power over another man. No man should have power over a woman. And if you call that anarchy, okay. If you say that, oh, well, you believe in no government, how's government working out for us? Let me ask you this. This anarchy thing you talk about is so bad. How is this working out for us? How did Japan's government work out for the Chinese citizens? The Chinese dad who was forced to stick his daughter. How did that work out for them? How did it work? I saw the pictures. When you do a search and you see the pictures of these women just laid out, men too, and you see how they were violated, because they're black and white pictures, but you can still tell what something happened to them, what happened to them. How'd it work out for them? Now, I know government's working out great for you. You got a nice job, got a nice car, smell good. You don't make any attachment to the people that get murdered so you can have all this. You don't make any attachment to the thousands of women who are raped all the time so you can get your new iPhone. You don't make any of those attachments. You don't care about slavery because you're a slaver. You know, everybody's upset at Libya. Oh my God, Libya's falling apart. You know, and it was something that it was orchestrated over a long period of time. And then this is where I get off with a how can you be a leader of anything that's significant to anybody wise on the planet, and you let a whole damn continent fall into slavery? You let a whole continent, and y'all say it was full of governments, there's a bunch of different countries. No, they're not a bunch of different countries with a bunch of different governments. You know what Africa is? Africa is the same thing most of South America is, which is what the most of what the Middle East is. They are lordships. There's a difference between having a government and a lordship. A lordship is one where a real government, a real king, a big one that makes their own decisions, they put you in power. They give you this land and you got to pay them royalties. And they give you power. You're the sellout. You're the sellout government, the sellout lordship over this land. And that's what the Middle East is. It's full of lordships given by whoever y'all want to say, banks, Wall Street, Illuminati, aliens, Rothschild, whatever. They're lordships because they're not making their own decisions. And how do you know? Because all their people are pissed. All of their people are angry. Their people are strapping bombs to their chest and blowing themselves up in the marketplaces. People don't do that have good governments. People don't do that actually have governing bodies. The people who do that, they have lordships. And so Anon and helping all these lordships all over Africa so whoever runs the world can crank out all these minerals, and the whole slave trade that goes up through Libya. Like, you're just talking about Libya because that's just the latest slave trade. Slavery never stopped in the Middle East, Africa, or South America. Damn it, we got slavery in America. So anyway. All right, y'all have to give me this one. I'm sorry. I got a little too serious this morning. I got a little too serious. I don't like to go down that road. Just do me a favor. Do me a favor. Just take a little time out today because I can't post it. Let me see if I can find the name of it. can't post it. There's no way that Facebook would let a documentary like this stay up because it hit way, it was way too deep, personal, and it gave you the imagery right up front. I'm trying to find the name of the video for you because I want y'all to go out to YouTube. You have to watch this stuff because if you watch it, it actually, yeah, this is it right here. So if you go to YouTube, do a search for the Nanking Massacre, the documentary. It was a brother out of the UK that did it. Name of the channel was Curious Lloyd. I don't think if I posted it'll stay because right when you open the video, it's going to say warning. It's going to show you some stuff that you don't really want to see. But I think it's important to process the idea of 300,000 people being murdered by other people for reasons that we refuse to accept. The rape of 20,000 women by other human beings for reasons we don't really talk about. And that is, it was like I was saying yesterday, we are all Negan. We are all capable of the worst things imaginable if we are put in the worst spots. And until we accept the fact that we all have the same genetics, that we're all related, and that nobody should be in these horrible conditions, and when we stop blaming the soldier and we start blaming the concept that you can't raise a human being, you can't let a human being be in an environment where violence is normalized, where their warrior genetics get turned on, where they will do these things, until we actually start talking about the problem, none of the problems will ever be solved. So I want you to watch that video. It's not a long video. It's just 8 minutes. It's just 8 minutes, but it's important, I think, because somebody lived through it. If somebody lived through it, then you need to see it. And I think I forgot how many survivors are left in China talking about it, but they're dying. They're slowly dying off. This was in 1937, so they're slowly dying off. And the worst accounts, I'm sure we'll never know. The worst thing that happened to to the youngest little 6-7-year-old girl by a bunch of soldiers in her bedroom. We'll never know the worst of the evils. But you know, if you don't accept the fact that your government can do it and your government does do it, that everybody's capable of the worst things, because and I'm gonna end on this, but the way James Fallon put it was this way. This is how he put it. He said, trying to get somebody who has their war genetics activated, trying to get a psychopath to see. I'm gonna mess it up. I know I'm gonna mess it up. He said asking a psychopath if murder is wrong is like asking a blind person what light is. What does light look like? He says you don't even see it. He says you don't even see it. You don't even see the empathy. You don't even see that it's wrong. You don't even see that this horrendous act that you're about to do is a bad idea. I mean, you got to listen to professionals when it comes to this. Don't listen to yourself. Listen to the professional people who are studying how your brain works. If everybody is capable of this horrible stuff because they just grow cold and they don't have any feeling, it's like when women go through it. You know, a lot of the women who live through rape, and most of them have, what do they tell you? They tell you that the only way I made it is I just went cold. I just turned it off and I wasn't there. I put my head in a place. These women who were abused year after year after year, they said, I just went into a place where I wasn't there. You know, that is the human brain gives you the ability to survive these conditions, but also governments use that cold-heartedness, that ability to turn those genes off, to get soldiers to do some of the most horrible things, to get police to do some of the most horrible things. They know this stuff. This is not new. They know that they can get, anyway. All right, I'm way over my time, you know. Watch the documentary. Today is the anniversary, if you joined late, of the Nanking massacre, where 300,000 people were murdered by the government. And I still have intelligent people trying to tell me that the government's so good, it's done so much good, that it should still exist. I just don't have I don't have any evidence as to why, other than the fact that I live a very privileged life. I'm comfy and I'm safe, and my brothers and sisters all over the world, even in America, aren't. I don't know. To me, y'all, I think they failed. And I think when somebody fails something, a concept fails, you have to call it a failure. I think the currency system, the currency model we have for the world, it failed. Our governments have failed. Maybe they don't know it. Maybe it's because we didn't tell them. But we got to start telling. All right, y'all, I'm done. I'm sorry. Went over my time. But today's a significant day. December the 13th, 1937, where we lost a lot of people we shouldn't have lost. And we're going to keep losing them if we don't grow up. All right. Y'all have a good day. I love y'all.